we're a safer city on most measurements than we were 30 years ago. Now, that might be inconsistent with what you feel is the case, depending on which national cable news channel you watch or which presidential candidate you voted for. That might be totally counter to what you've been told. But boy, numbers are numbers. You can't, you can have whatever opinion you want, but you can't make up your own numbers. There's a lot of stats we measure. I focus on homicides because we're talking about human life, and there's nothing more important than that. We all know that in 2021, not just in Toledo, but nationwide, there was a spike in violent crime, and cities all over the country saw more violent crime and more homicides than any of us could bear. Toledo did too. But since then, we have really turned the corner. We now, last year, had about half as many homicides as we had just 3 years ago. From 2022 to 2023, that 20 homicide drop represents a 30% reduction. The very next year, when it dropped again by 8, that represented an 18% reduction. So far this year, I know it's early in the year, 60-some days into the year, but this time last year, Toledo had 12 homicides. So far this year, we've had 4 homicides. Now, don't get me wrong, I say this all the time, and I'm going to say it again. That is 4 more than we want. That's 4 more than we can bear. All 4 of those are human beings, and they had people who loved them, and we're not going to be satisfied until there are none. But the fact of the matter is, even after an 18% reduction 2 years, I'm sorry, a 30% reduction 2 years ago and an 18% reduction last year, so far this year, March 5th to March 5th, we're down an additional 67%. We're moving in the right direction. We are consistent now with what our 30-year average is. There is more work to do, but we're going to celebrate the progress we're making. And